Hello class, I want to welcome everyone to Western Civ 104 for this upcoming 2018 spring semester. I want to apologize about the light coming in. My house, the lighting is weird everywhere, so right now I'm an extra pale illuminating person. In any case, we are going to be doing Western Civ, and there's a few things I want to say. Before I forget, some of you had me for 106, and or you might have had me for Western Civ 107 or for 101. And my PowerPoints are a little bit more dynamic, to say the least, for those classes, and so I want to apologize for the kind of basic PowerPoint structures. I have not been able to get the time to actually kind of add like a better set of pictures, if you will, and I think that matters. It's just that it's hard because I don't get a lot of time and I don't get paid for prep time, and it's just something I would like to fix in the future. So I just want to acknowledge that right off the bat. Otherwise, the structures of all my classes are the same. So once you've had a class with me, you pretty much know what to expect in terms of the routine. And I'm going to get to the routine for everybody here in a second. I also want to say this: if you've had my World Civ class, this class is going to start off very much like the beginning of World Civ, because Western civilization actually emerges not out of what we consider to be the West. And so, actually, this is what I just want to address then, to just kind of talk about. I'll try to be brief as possible. Many people think that Western civilization is about the wild, wild West, like cowboys with guns and cattle. That is a part of the Western world, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the emergence of Western civilization, and this is a survey course, basically dealing with Western to Eastern Europe, mainly heavily on the Western. And you can't, for those of us who teach history, you realize when you learn history that nothing comes out of a vacuum. Nothing comes out of a vacuum. So Africa and the Middle East, we're talking about Egypt and Mesopotamia, we are going to see are going to be where our civilization is going to emerge. And then we're going to talk about the Mediterranean world, especially the Greco-Roman tradition that ends up formulating into this construct called the West. And you're going to hear me repeat certain things over and over, because I know for many of you this is your first time being exposed to something, and so when you do hear me repeat something, it means that I think it's very important and that I want to actually have you I want it to be burned into your brain. So the concept of the West is controversial now, and I'm going to address all of that. In the past, a class like this, and you'll hear me say this again and again, used to be the West is the best. And now the controversy is that we'll notice that Australia, New Zealand, the United States, Canada is dominated demographically and politically, and the demographic part is shifting, and we're going to talk about that, but dominated by mainly white European settlers. We are in lands of conquest, and so for those of us living here, this was at the expense of other people, and the people that the expense was at, whether it be through slavery or through ethnic cleansing, which is just a fact. We're now seeing narratives that highlight this reality, while in the past we muted it. So now there's this dilemma, right? In the past, all the glories of the West were talked about, and its sins were muted. Sins, right? Controversial. The the negative things done to other people to create the benefits of the West. And then you also have another trend that is focusing strictly on those real, factual, negative consequences and muting or negating any of the positive. And so, the way people are looking at Western cultural and civilization has been shifting and getting somewhat complex. What I like to try to do with all of my history classes is get us to appreciate the nuance of looking at things, kind of stepping back with a bird's eye view and trying to get as balanced of a perspective. And that doesn't mean having a strong opinion about something. And so what I want to just say is this. I have very strong political opinions, but I try my best to not impose that on my students. I like to think that information in of itself is going to be able to direct a lot of students to some of the views that maybe I value. But the reality is that we're all individuals, and I want to respect that. And you're not here to get graded on how well your views collaborate with mine. So if you do the work and you give your opinions in respectful, academic type, ways, then I will respect the paper on that, and you'll get A's. I have many of my students that have been A students that do not share my political views. I can tell when I read their stuff. So that's not going to be a part of what happens. I'm hoping that the discussions are like they usually are in all my classes, which are thoughtful and productive. Only once in a while have I had somebody disrespect another person's, like they said something to the point that I needed to intervene and ask them to change that, because there's a fine line between free speech and then going a little bit over the top and insulting fellow students. It's not squashing free speech. It's not being a pansy liberal to require decorum, manners in a classroom. Okay, so that's the issue. I don't care if you have my view and you insult another student in the chat room. I will not let that happen. Okay, so that's the kind of stuff that I want to address. I'm going to end this video here, and then I'm going to make a second video underneath that you can watch to then explain more about the structure of this class and what do I expect on top of that. So I'll end this here, and you can take a break from me, and then I'll have another video.